Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your man James, aka JP, back again with the toy room, and I am very excited for today's episode because we're doing a brand new tour of the toy room. And this, honestly, in my humble opinion, is the best that the room has ever looked. There's just so much that has changed, so much rearranging that I've done, especially since I've been gone for the last 6 months. I've moved a lot of things around. I got a lot of new additions, like you guys can see a little sneak peek behind me, moved some stuff around. So I'm just very happy and excited to finally be doing another toy room tour for you guys. Hopefully you guys have been kind of caught up with all the toy room tours, and you remember what the room looked like last time. If you didn't, I'll leave a playlist at the end of this video so you can check out the before and after of what the rooms look like. But anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the toy room tour for January 2026, which it's crazy that we're already in January of 2026. Happy belated New Year's. Anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into it. All right, so I'm gonna do a quick pan of the room so you guys can get a feel for how everything is laid out and what everything looks like. Some of the stuff is going to look the same, but a lot of stuff is going to look new. I have changed a lot of stuff since the last room tour, so I cannot wait to show you guys all of the major changes that have been done in this room. But I did just want to do a quick 360 just so you guys can take a look and get a feel for everything. So we're gonna start over here in this corner, and this nothing really has changed here, but if you guys are new, I will briefly go over this. And this is the entrance to the toy room right here. So you just have a door with my Back to the Future hoverboard poster, the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening poster right here, Amazing Spider-Man random little wooden poster that I found on clearance somewhere, I don't even remember where, Avatar 4 Nations map, and then this random Pillsbury Doughboy clock that I thought was pretty cool that I got at the thrift store, so I bought it and hung it up in here. And then we're gonna go ahead and move over to this wall. This is probably one of the two most changed walls in the room. So previously I used to have all of my action figures along this wall, but now all those action figures are over here. And I used to have about, I would say, 4 or 5 shelves full of figures. I sold a lot of figures off, got rid of stuff that I didn't really care about as much, condensed them, and now we only have 3 shelves full of figures. But we'll get to that in a second. First, I wanna start on this wall. So this is kind of like my retro gaming type of wall over here, and over here we have the NFL Blitz Arcade 1-Up cabinet. Nothing new with this, but wanted to show that off. So there's the NFL Blitz cabinet right there, and then right on top of that I have my NFL Street football here. This is a legit NFL Street promo item from when NFL Street was originally released back in the day, so that is really cool. So obviously that fits in with the whole NFL Blitz theme, so I have that going on over there. And then these posters aren't new, but I'll just show them off. Kingdom Hearts 3 promo poster, Jeffrey the Giraffe Toys R Us American Dream poster, Back to the Future newspaper, that this is an actual USA Today newspaper that you were able to buy back in the day, and then some other Back to the Future posters, as well as Super Smash Brothers right over there. And then let's go ahead and just move down over here. These shelves are the newest edition. I just added these on last weekend, so very happy to have these. And I wanted to set up some of my Wu-Tang stuff, so I went ahead and put my Super 7 ODB right over there, along with this sign that I have that says "Presidents are temporary, Wu-Tang is forever." And then I have the 36 Chambers CD along with disc 2 of Wu-Tang Forever, because I just randomly found that in the thrift store by itself. I still need disc 1 and the actual case for it. And then this is the latest figure I picked up, and that is the Super 7 RZA. Didn't know that they made one, so I went ahead and picked that up. And then I have the very limited edition Wu-Tang edition of Monopoly. So very happy to have that. Paid a little bit more than I should have for it, but with it being limited edition, I definitely needed that, and I actually played it and it is tons of fun. And it also came with this limited edition print inside of that Monopoly. I didn't want to hang it up on the wall with sticking nails through it or whatever, so maybe eventually I'll get a frame, but for now just have it resting over there. And oh, looks like my VHS just finished playing, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch that real quick. All right, we're back in action. So anyways, as I was saying, moving on over here, we have more Wu-Tang stuff. So we have the random, the W album right here. And then this is a MTA Metro card from New York. So this is the card you use to ride the subway. And this is a promotional item from the Wu-Tang show that came out on Hulu, the Wu-Tang American Saga. So that's a pretty cool limited edition piece. And because I had the rest of my Super 7 figures here, I figured why not put the Super 7 Biggie right over there, along with the Funko Pop album Born Again Biggie, and then I have the Notorious movie over here, and then the Duets Final Chapter CD right over there. And then coming down here to the middle, these are some of my retro consoles, not all of them, but they all are connected via S-Video to this TV down here, which we'll get to in a second, because that's a very special thing that you guys have not seen yet. But moving over here, we have my Nintendo 64, my Mitsubishi VCR, Sega Genesis Model 1, and I did forget to turn this light on for ambiance, so we're gonna do that right now. There we go. And then just to fill in this space, I have this vintage Darth Maul lightsaber that I got from my dad from his old collection. I have so many memories playing with that as a child, and like probably getting it as when I shouldn't have, like sneaking into his collection and playing with it. So he just recently found it in the garage and gave it to me. So it is pretty cool. It is sagging a little bit in the middle, so I might try and put a third hook there in the middle to hold it up. But for right now, I just have it hanging on 2 command hooks right there. Moving over here, we have the giant remote for this TV that I am about to show off in a second. And then we have my Super Nintendo right over here. It's a little yellowed. I should probably do a restoration, another restoration on it. I have restored it previously, but it does need a little bit more time to cook. And then I have the Lego Game Boy and the cartridge here for the Game Boy, so that's pretty cool. I don't know if you guys can make it out on camera how the lenticular screen actually makes it look like it's moving. I don't think it's really coming out on camera. Anyways, we also have my PS1, my Dreamcast, my PS2 and PS2 Slim, and then this is my S-Video little hub right here. So I have like 4 or 5 different S-Video inputs. It's like a switch basically. Then I have my GameCube over there, and then my to-watch pile of N1 Mixtape Tour VHSs, which is what I just put on this TV right over here. And now getting to this TV, this is, it's a crazy story behind this TV. So this is a 40-inch Mitsubishi CRT TV, which is, I believe to my knowledge, the biggest CRT that was ever put in production. And this thing is crazy. So I literally found it down the street from my house. Somebody like around the block was throwing it out, and the power cord was cut on it. So I still brought it home because it was just so crazy to find. And this thing legit weighs, I think, about 300, maybe 350 pounds, something like that. But the power cord was cut. So I bought a new power cord for it. I had my friend come over. He soldered it. We cracked this thing open, soldered a new power cord on there. And it works perfectly. All it needed was a brand new power cord, and this thing is crazy. Like, I don't know if camera is going to do it justice on how big this is, but this is a 40-inch CRT TV. I mean, this thing, like, here's just my hand, just for reference. So this thing is huge. Picture quality is great. It has every input you would need, composite, S-Video. It's got everything on here. So very, very happy to have that. It even has built-in speakers, surround sound, huge speakers on the side. You got one on that side and then one on that side over there. So surround sound speakers that are literally built into the TV. The sound on it is great. It doesn't have a ton of bass, but sound wise, the like clarity and everything like that, it sounds amazing. So very, very happy to have this. Now, unfortunately, with this being such a big and heavy TV, there's nowhere I can put it other than on the floor. But you know, from standing up, it's a little, you kind of have to look down at it. But when you're in a seated position, which is where I just got to now, it's actually not too bad because it's so big that it's almost eye level with you. So you're not really straining your neck to look down or anything like that. Anyways, moving on, just some random LED bars over here to illuminate the consoles, not eliminate, illuminate. And then moving on over here, we have my Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arcade 1-up cabinet. Again, nothing new with this or anything like that, but did just want to show it off. And then my Domino's pizza sign right over here. This belongs on the top of a car. This is another situation where I found my neighbor throwing it out. It needed to be restored. It actually needed a new power cable as well, and I was able to do that. I did a whole video on that, so that was pretty fun. And then in this corner here, again, this is another TV that I found literally around the block from my house, on the same street that I found this TV, but I found this a few months later. Now, you may be asking, why do I have it sideways? And that's because that's the only way I can fit it in here. What I decided to do was get rid of my Xbox mini fridge that you guys have seen in the background of a lot of videos in the past. I'm just gonna get rid of that mini fridge. I've never used it. I bought it at full price when it originally came out, and I just never used it. It was more like for a background aesthetics thing, so I don't really care about that. So I'm gonna get rid of it. And that previously was in this corner here with my Samsung GX TV sitting on top of it. But like I said, I'm getting rid of the mini fridge, and I shoved this TV in here just for now. I don't know. I really like this TV just because it has the old wood grain finish on it. It's a Zenith. I think it's like a 20 something, like a 27-inch TV. So it's a fairly big CRT as well. The inputs on it suck. It only has RF, but the wood grain is just so cool, man. And like I said, I found someone throwing this out around the block. I took it home. It works. I plugged it in. So I may get like an RF converter from like Composite or whatever, but I couldn't, pass that up. It's such a cool TV, and if I want to use it, I can always just slide it out, turn it sideways, use it, and then when I'm not using it, slide it back in this corner. And then I have my Samsung GX here, which is also a CRT TV that unfolds. I don't know how much I can unfold it this way, but the doors unfold. The doors have speakers in them. It's a small TV. I forget what it is. It's like a 15-inch or something like that. It's not a very big TV at all, but what's cool about this TV, obviously, other than having the doors to flip open, it has a built-in subwoofer and speaker system right here in the back. So the sound on this TV is crazy, and I grew up with this TV, so I have a lot of nostalgia for it. And then just resting on top of there, I have the original Oculus Quest. This thing's basically a brick at this point because they don't support it, so I can't download any new games. I can't update my existing games that I have on there. So essentially, it's just a paperweight. Maybe eventually I'll get the Meta Quest 3, but I'm not too worried about that. And then just bringing it up here, some other random like Marvel stuff. So we have this comic book from Islands of Adventure when they originally opened back in like 1999 or 2000, whatever it was. And then just some other random stuff here. I have this poster of the Fantastic Four from the latest Fantastic Four movie from the MCU. And then my Men in Black Laserdisc and Rocky 3 soundtrack on vinyl. And then I have this really cool corner light I got on Amazon. It was like 50 bucks or something like that, maybe even 40. I just needed something to kind of fill in this empty space right here, and that worked perfectly. I'm thinking about getting another one on this side. It's just gonna be harder because I can't put it in the corner because of the door, so I might maybe put it in this empty area right here. I think that will work. I have enough space because the door opens right there, so maybe I'll be able to get that to work, but that is a plan for another day. And then moving over here, we have my NES collection. So along with getting rid of some shelves, I also added some shelves. So previously I had 2 of these Atlantic bookcases. Well, now I have 3 of them. So I have one here, and then another one over here. Previously, I only had this one and this one over here, but my friend was actually downsizing his collection and getting rid of his, and he gave it to me. So that worked out perfectly because honestly, I desperately needed it. So I just had way too many video games, way too many VHSs that I was running out of space, and this worked perfectly. So right over here is my entire Nintendo collection. So everything from NES all the way to Switch 2, and then just some other like random boxes and stuff for accessories and games and toys right up here that are all Nintendo, every single one of them. So I'll just do a quick, pan through that so you guys can see it. Some of the stuff is pretty old. You guys have seen it all already, but I do just want to show that off. And then I'll just pan through all the games. Honestly, like as far as like retro NES, 64, Super Nintendo, nothing has really changed as far as anything I've added to my collection. I don't think I've picked up anything recently. So I'm just gonna pan through that really quickly so you guys can see. Wii, I've added quite a bit of stuff just because I find a lot of Wii at the thrift store. And then Switch and Switch 2, I've added a decent amount of stuff as well. I do just want to show off some of my handhelds that I have over here. Some Game Boys over here. This thing's pretty cool. It's one of these little like clone consoles that you find like on AliExpress for like 30 bucks. I got it in translucent purple. It's pretty cool. I have almost like every single ROM on here from Atari all the way through like PS1, I think. So that is really cool, comes in handy. And then like I said, I have a whole bunch of other like handhelds over here. Don't know if I showed these off. So handhelds, more handhelds over here, and then my Switch and Switch 2 stuff. Some big box stuff that is blocked off by that TV, but it's not really that important. And then some more stuff that is blocked off that I need to find a better way to display, but some spare Game Cubes, this little mini CRT over here. My Switch 1 is behind there, and then, just a bunch of other random stuff. So moving on from that, we're gonna we'll start at the top here with my Jurassic Park stuff. Honestly, nothing has changed up here, but do just want to pan through it and show it off. So there is my Jurassic Park shelf right over here. And then from there, Fast and the Furious, nothing has changed here. I think I might have got rid of a couple cars that I didn't really care about, but I still have all the major cars here. So we'll just pan through that really quickly. And I think my VHS just finished again. I need to rewind these. So once I'm done panning with my Fast and Furious stuff, I will pop a new VHS in there. So there we are, and let me go do that really quick. All right, so I put in a movie that's gonna last at least an hour and a half, Harry Potter, just because these M1 mixtape tours are only like 15-20 minute videos, so shouldn't have that problem again. Anyways, moving back over here, we have all of my action figures. Not a ton new, but I am just gonna pan through them all really quickly. So here's some of my Pokemon Funko Pops. So we have that shelf over there, as well as this shelf right down here. And then these are more of my vintage Pokemon stuff. So a lot of all the vintage toys. I don't have every single one, obviously. It would be nice eventually, maybe one day, to have all the original 151 of the vintage Pokemon toys, but I do have a lot of them, which is nice, as well as other random little accessories and trinkets, all just a bunch of different retro vintage Pokemon stuff right over there. And then coming down over here, this is a shelf I am really happy about and just can't wait to expand once more figures come out, and that is my Street Fighter collection. So this is the Jada Toys, I believe, is the ones that makes these. The same company that makes the Fast and Furious, come on camera, there we go, all those Fast and Furious diecast cars. They actually make these figures, and these are really amazing figures. Great detail, great articulation, great accessories, and at an amazing affordable price as well. And yeah, just really can't go wrong with those guys right there. Anyways, moving down to my Mario shelf here, nothing has changed other than Lakitu, or Lakitu, however you want to pronounce it. I just recently got him, so I put him floating right over there, and then that's the rest of my Nintendo shelf right there. And then, I'm sorry, that's the Mario shelf. This is the Nintendo shelf. These are all the other characters from the Nintendo brand, and I got a couple that fell over right over there that I have to pick up. But these are all the other Nintendo characters here from Jakks Pacific that unfortunately they just don't make the world of Nintendo anymore. I'm not sure why, but there you go right there. So moving on up right over here, we're going to go to Back to the Future. I don't think anything has changed here, so I'm just going to show it off really quickly just in case anybody's new. But there is Back to the Future. And then more Back to the Future. This is primarily DeLoreans on here, as well as just a couple other like random little stuff, but this is primarily a DeLorean shelf. So we have that right over there. And then my Ninja Turtles collection, which, why is Donnie turned that way? There. Okay, I must have bumped into him or something, but there we go. So as you can see, I downsized my Ninja Turtle collection, and I only kept the movie figures pretty much and got rid of all the cartoon figures. Just because I wasn't really into them as much. I stopped collecting them because there was just way too many to keep up with. But I really love the movie figures, so I had to keep those right there. And then those are just the Turtles, and then here are pretty much all the other characters from the movie line as well. So yeah, really love that line right there. Oh no, Drago fell down. Man, I'm just noticing a bunch of figures have fallen over, so I have to pick up Drago. But this is kind of like my 80s shelf here. So Rocky, Ghostbusters, RoboCop, pretty much almost all NECA figures right over here. But yeah, I have to pick up Drago. I didn't even notice he fell over, so that sucks. Anyways, you got that right there, and then the Ghostbusters. And then this is my Hot Wheels collection. I really need to find a better way to display it because you can't really see it unless you're like head on with it, unfortunately. But I have it all organized by color. So black, white, silver, pink, red, yellow, all the colors of the rainbow. It's all organized. But yeah, definitely need to find a better way to display that right over there. And moving back on up over here, my Power Rangers shelf, honestly, nothing has changed. So just a quick, brief pan through that. But all the different Mighty Morphin Power Rangers here. Then I have my Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie figures right over here. So again, nothing has changed. My Red Ranger shelf, nothing has changed on here either. So you have that right there. I think I condensed a shelf and put all my Rangers, like all my other color Rangers, all like together. So maybe that's the only thing that's changed, is I kind of took two shelves and combined it into one. I think that's what happened over here. So we have that. And then my villains over here, which I think, again, I condensed them all onto one shelf together, so it looks a little bit more full. And then down here, I have the what is this? The Xavier Institute, the X Mansion, whatever you want to call it. The Lego set right over here, so that's really cool. And then Thanos, just a random Marvel Legend. I don't have a lot of them on my collection, but I do love this one a lot. So I just put him over there because he kind of fit in. So that is it for the big collection of action figures. I still have action figures scattered all throughout the room, but those two walls right there, which we're still not done, but not much has changed on this section here. But this and this right here are kind of the two biggest changes, because I basically flip-flopped where everything was. I used to have the arcades on this wall, and you know, I did a whole video on that. You guys might have seen it. I started to remodel the room, and then once I finally finished remodeling the room and I was gonna do like an updated tour, then I got this TV in, and then this TV made me kind of have to second guess how I had everything laid out in the room, and that turned into a whole nother big remodel that then turned into me having no time, and now here we are 6 months later. So yeah, anyways, let's move on over to the shelf right over here. All right, so moving on over here, I don't think too much has changed, but this is all of my Xbox collection over here, and as far as video games go, and then I have my VHSs down below. But first we're gonna start right up here, and this is just a bunch of random big box stuff that didn't fit anywhere else. So just literally just randomness, some video games, some action figures and whatnot. So I have that over there. And like I said, my entire Xbox collection from OG Xbox to Xbox 360 and Xbox One. Haven't added a ton of games on here, so I'm not gonna like go too in detail with that. Maybe that'll be another video. I did recently add this controller here, which if I can move this guy out of the way, there we go. So I got the Ghost Cypher controller. This was on clearance at Target for like 30 bucks, so I definitely had to pick that up. And then these guys also are new, and these are the Small Soldiers Burger King Happy Meal toys, or Burger King meal toys, whatever they were called. I have the entire collection of it. Shout out to Megan Patterson, who hooked me up with them. Just a random friend I met on Facebook through a CRT group, and we've been pretty cool ever since. And she knew that I was on the hunt for these and found them, and yeah, so now I have them in my collection. So shout out to you. And then also just have a couple random box Genesis games right over there. And then everything else is all VHS. So these are all my slipcover VHSs. I still have a lot more VHSs, but these are all the slipcover ones. So just a brief pan through of everything right there. And then this little pile on the floor is my to-do list. So I still need to find a home for the Little People Power Rangers, as well as the Megazord. And then, like I said, I am getting rid of that Xbox fridge, as well as this random BB-8 Funko. And then I need to find a spot for that giant Ninja Turtle right over there. So coming back over here, I think this might have been like this last time. I'm honestly not sure. But I have this random little, like, I don't even know what this is, like a 15-inch monitor basically, hooked up to my Pokemon VCR. And I have the Lego, or not Lego, this is a Mega Bloks Xbox 360 and a random Darth Maul over here, because I love Darth Maul, and even though I got rid of the rest of my Star Wars Black Series figures, I definitely had to keep him. And then I have a Sesame Street shelf over here, which I look forward to expanding once NECA releases more figures. But we have these guys right over here, as well as a couple other like Funko Pops and other little VHS tapes, a wooden sign from SeaWorld, and then this little random plushie over here. So yeah, very, very excited with this shelf here, especially with the NECA figures. I can't wait for Big Bird and Grover and Oscar. I know those are all coming very soon, so can't wait for those. And then moving down here, this is my Toys R Us shelf. Honestly, I do need a bigger space for my Toys R Us collection, just because I have so much Toys R Us stuff. But this all, you know, it's all crammed into here right now. This is everything that I have, but a lot of rare stuff too. Like this is stuff that only employees got. So I got, some of that is when I worked there. Some of that is when my dad used to work there back in the 90s. So like this is just really cool. This is full of other pins as well. I have a couple pins right here. And then this is actually a t-shirt that is like molded into a Formula 2001 car. So that's pretty cool. I'm probably never going to open that. I'm sure it's actually worth a ton of money as well. And then this is my Target shelf, kind of the same situation with the Toys R Us shelf. I honestly, I just need more space for my Target stuff. So I have to figure that out, but yeah, just some Funko Pops, some Transformers, some Pez dispensers, other random little stuff, because I do work at Target. That is my second job. So little like employee trinkets right there. And I do have this Blockbuster shelf. Let me move this out of the way really quickly. All right, so here is my Blockbuster shelf, as you can see here. Just a bunch of random stuff. I have like Blockbuster cases for movies and games, Blockbuster candle, Blockbuster pen, just a bunch of random memorabilia. This random like Blockbuster hat, that's vintage. And then just a random Hollywood video thing that I have as well that kind of fits in there. But yeah, just a lot of random Blockbuster stuff. I have this Roku remote only because I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it has a button for the Blockbuster app when Blockbuster tried to go like almost like Netflix and go digital and streaming. So yeah, just a bunch of really, really cool random Blockbuster stuff. So moving on from that over there, we're going to go back to this corner because I forgot to mention my Kobe Bryant jersey that I have hanging up over there. And then right up here, this is mostly like all NBA pops and like musicians. So almost every single Michael Jordan pop that has ever released, I have right over here. And then just other random NBA players like Shaq and the Miami Heat mascot as well, Bernie. And then I have my Mighty Ducks, and then other random like athletes and musicians. I have almost every single Biggie pop, DMX, Tupac, Aaliyah, the MTV Moon Man. And if you look in the back there, you can see the other Biggie albums, the Slam magazine covers. I don't have all of them just because I ran out of space, but I did want to get all the Slam magazine Funko Pops. I just don't think that's going to happen. And then over here we have my Toy Story collection, or mostly Toy Story, but there is some other Pixar properties here. Nothing's changed other than like a couple new Toy Story 2 Funko Pops that I have up here and scattered throughout as well, but almost everything is the same up here, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but I will just kind of briefly pan through everything. So I have all that right there. I know like this Andy Pop is new, Sid is new right over here. What else is new? I have this guy that's new that he fell the other day. He fell over and knocked over some of my Avatar Pops that they used to float on stands, but I hate the Funko stands because anytime they fall, which I've had happen way too many times, the stands break. So I do have to buy new versions of those, but I'll get back to that shelf in a second. Other than the Pixar stuff, I do have my more modern setup of games or game consoles right over here. So I have my Xbox One X and my original Xbox One, as well as one of my Switches, and then PS4 Pro, Xbox 360, PS3. So more of the HDMI consoles are over here, as well as consoles that I have hooked up through HDMI, like the original Xbox or my classic consoles right over here. My PS1 Classic, my NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis Model 1 and 2. I have all of those hooked up via HDMI. I have my, not Switches, but my Wii's hooked up via HDMI. I have another Super Nintendo that I do have hooked up via HDMI, as well as an NES. So pretty much everything here is hooked up, ready to go, and hooked up into my Sony OLED 55-inch TV. Like I said, HDMI all ready to go with converters and everything like that. So I can play any of those consoles when I want to. And then moving on over here, random Fiat 500 Hot Wheels, because I'm a big Fiat 500 fan. And I still have this Dwayne Wade 2K20 GameStop. This was like a window poster that GameStop had in the window when at the time the game came out. And then over here, this is my Avatar shelf. I have 1, 2, 3 Avatar shelves. So these are basically all the Avatars here. So you have Aang, Kyoshi, as well as Korra right over there. So I have those guys, and then these are all the other characters right over here. So Sokka, Katara, Toph, Suki, Zuko. So these are all the good guys over here, and you may be saying, why is Zuko on the good guys? Well, this is when Zuko was a good guy. So if I come down here, you'll see I have Zuko when he was a bad guy. So yeah, I just have, this is basically all Fire Nation right over here, but these are all the bad guys, the Fire Nation shelf, if you will. So all of that right over there. And I have my Sega shelf right under that, which hasn't changed other than the addition of the latest wave of Sega figures. So I have Shinobi right over there, the guy from Golden Axe. Now, unfortunately, I ran out of space, so I had to put Rue, which is part of that wave, and whatever this guy's name was, I forgot, from Altered Beast. I just had to put them over here because I didn't have space. I do need to figure out spacing on here, maybe move some things around or whatever, but I have that like that for now. And then my Sony shelf right over here, which just has a couple random Sony figures, as well as some box stuff, like the PS5 controller that looks like the PS1. I have my PS1 Classic box over there, and an original multi-tap for the PS1 that is still sealed, which is pretty cool. And like I said, just a bunch of other random Sony stuff right over there. So I also forgot to mention this middle section right over here. So you can see I have the Magic Carpet rug from Aladdin, as well as this little coffee table over here that has a bunch of random magazines and whatnot, like a ton of magazines. So I'm not going to really go into it too much, but I will just kind of pan through so you guys can kind of see all of that. And then I also have this glass Monopoly set right over here that's pretty cool, with my Hot Wheels Monopoly car piece right over there, as well as the town from Back to the Future. You got Hill Valley, this little like micro display set right over there, and my Lego DeLorean that I have right there. So I just wanted to show that off really quickly because I always forget to mention this little coffee table section here, but it is a really cool part of the room, especially the rug right over there. Really big fan of that rug. Anyways, moving on from there, let's go ahead and get over to this section right over here. And if we come over to this corner, I have some random Star Wars posters over there. and then some just random controllers and stuff that I have on display here. And I still have a sealed original Xbox controller that I got the thrift years ago for $5, which is pretty cool. And then these are all of my Space Jam 2 as well as original Space Jam Funko Pops and just toys as well. I have some of the vintage toys, as you can see, with the Michael Jordan right over there, and then one of the Monstars right over there. And then here is my basically Space Jam collection. So I have Space Jam on the PC, I have the Space Jam CD soundtrack, I have the cassette soundtrack, I have Space Jam on VHS, as well as Blu-ray 4K Steelbook, and then I have a Jordan card from the Aqua 8s right over there. And then, oh, I also have this Space Jam tie. This is legit like a tie you would wear with a suit. That is the most 90s thing ever, so I have that draped over there. And then this is my PlayStation collection of games right over here. So I have everything from PS1 all the way through PS5, but I actually start with PS2 because I have a shelf that is the exact height for like CDs, so I put my PS1 stuff there. So like I said, I have a lot of PS2. I used to have a lot more too, but during COVID, I needed money when my job shut down, so I got into kind of reselling some games as I needed money. So there's my PS2 stuff, there is my PSP stuff, which also leads into PS3, and there is my PS3, and then PS4, and then that leads into PS1. So there are my PS1 stuff, as well as a couple other random like CDs, like albums. So I have that there. And PS5, which is always expanding because that is my main console now. So there's PS5. And then just a bunch of random figures and just other stuff. So I have like this Joker from The Dark Knight, this random McDonald's Funko Pop, and then back there I have one PSP. Then I have another PSP right over here. I think that's the 3000 model. It's a 2 or 3000 model, and then that's the 1000 model over there. And then I have a couple other random smartphones, or not smartphones, what am I saying? Well, vintage phones. I have like this BlackBerry right over here, a bunch of Motorola Razrs. I have an iPod Nano and an iPod Touch right behind there, and then some other just like random older phones. And then I have this really cool translucent purple like landline phone. I have a CD player, hit clips in sync, still sealed. I have a Jeff Gordon. This is an actual like telephone, as you guys can see right over there. That's like one of those landline phones. This random water bottle that looks like a weight, like, you know, lifting weights. Nickelodeon Gas Games and Sports for Kids. So this is really cool. I have no idea like how rare or anything this is, but I found that in a thrift store once. And then down here is just random stuff. So I have like my Stranger Things Blu-rays that look like VHSs. This is all full of loose games or like CDs from like every CD console. This is a CD holder. And then the Stoop Kid random thing, Ninja Turtles cartoon, the 1980s cartoon, complete box set DVDs, and then this random like Appa right over here. These Fast and Furious display pieces I'm still like trying to find a home for, which I've been doing forever. And then what else do we have? This, you know, really cool Spider-Man poster, Bob the Builder, like still in its original packaging, plush from the 90s. My Final Fight arcade 1-up cabinet, my JBL Pulse 5 speaker, as well as all of my Game Boy games. So everything from Game Boy Color, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and then obviously my DS and 3DS stuff right over there. I have every Pokemon game from Gen 1, 2, 3, I think that's it, Gen 1, 2, and 3. So I have Yellow, Red, Blue, I even have Green somewhere in here. There it is, Green from Japan. I have Silver, I have Gold, I have Crystal right over here. I have Ruby, Emerald. I do need Sapphire. I think that's the only one that I'm missing. Anyways, so my arcade 1-up Final Fight cap right over there. And then that brings me to these guys. I almost forgot. Just a bunch of random Funko Pops. These are like superheroes basically, and just like a random assortment of stuff right over there. So we got that. And then that will lead me over to my Hot Wheels. So here is Hot Wheels. These are my premium Hot Wheels, as you guys can see. So nothing new there other than, I don't know if I had this last time, Home Improvement Hot Wheels from the 90s. So I love the show Home Improvement, and it's just fitting that they made a Hot Wheels set for Home Improvement. And then that brings me over to this section right over here, and that is my storage closet. Now it's legit like my storage closet, so you're gonna see some stuff thrown around and kind of a mess in there. But I also have my VHSs stored in here. I have another CRT, I have another VCR in here, I have a PS1. So let's go ahead and just get into it. So like I said, it is a storage closet. So on the floor, I do have some stuff in storage. But we'll start right up here. And these are all of my board games, so just, you know, random stuff up here. It's the only spot that I have to put my board games. Honestly, I'm looking to kind of try and sell these. It's just hard finding a buyer like who wants to buy all these monopolies and stuff, but I'm looking to sell a decent amount of these games up here. I have these random cases. Let me see if I can, there we go. So I have these random cases right over here that just have like promo items. So I have some like Pokemon books right up here, different like Pokemon books and stuff. And then I have like, you know, manuals for Super Mario 64. I have like, you know, cards that have been sent to me by different companies when I've done reviews for them on YouTube. I have other like promo stuff and just a bunch of random like assortment of like collectibles and papers and stuff right there. And then, like I said, I have my VHSs. So here are all of my VHS tapes. These are some big box stuff. So Indiana Jones trilogy, Star Wars. This is like the I forget what year, like 80 something, late 80s release of the Star Wars trilogy, Godfather, Sopranos, the X-Files still sealed, and then these are all of the rest of my clamshells. So have them all in alphabetical order, starting from there, coming here and going down. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on them, but those are my clamshell VHS tapes. So many that I had to start like stacking them like this just to get them to fit. And then, like I said, I have a VCR, a PS1 that is running Wu-Tang Shaolin style right now on my Little Tyke CRT TV. I think this is like it's small. It's like an 8-inch, maybe 8 to like 10-inch CRT. I have this random Barbie doll over here from the Orlando Magic. And then these are all of my video game controllers, cables, accessories, just everything I would need. So I have like NES over here, NES and Super Nintendo, GameCube and 64, Wii and Wii U stuff, my Switch stuff, Dreamcast, PS, you know, all my PS stuff, PlayStation 1 through 5 in here, Dreamcast and Xbox, another Xbox thing down here, and then just a bunch of random assortment of wires and cables. And then that brings us back to the beginning of the room, and we are done. So I'm just going to do another quick pan of the room so you guys can get a feel for how everything looks. Again, I'm going to get all the way back here to the entrance, and that is the room. So much has changed. I've been putting off doing this video for such a long time because the room is never like fully 100% done, but actually right now I'm pretty happy with how it is. It's as done as it's going to get for now. And I think my biggest like thing that I'm most excited about in this room is that CRT right over there. And another cool thing that I forgot to mention with this CRT, so this is a Mitsubishi CRT, and I also have a Mitsubishi VCR that I've had this VCR for a very, very long time. So it's ironic that I also found a matching TV that also works with the VCR. So this remote here controls both the TV and the VCR, and this remote came with the TV. So it's funny that now, you know, I find this TV with the remote, and that VCR also works with the remote. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm just very, very happy with how the room came out, and man, it just looks so good. This might be the best iteration of the room that I've had, in my opinion. All right, you guys, so there is the toy room tour for January 2026. Now, honestly, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I'm just so happy with the way the room is. The layout and everything is perfect. It's just such a shame that I really don't have a lot of spare time to spend in here as of late, but hopefully now, you know, I'll be able to try and make time and just try to spend more time in here. Since my daughter is now sleeping throughout the night, I think it will be a little bit easier to do that. I'm actually filming this while she's sleeping in the room next to me right now, so I'm trying not to be too loud, and hopefully she doesn't wake up. But man, I'm just so happy with the way the room came out, and I hope you guys are too. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys enjoyed the room tour, please definitely leave a comment down below, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and that's pretty much it. So as always, guys, stay tuned for more, plenty more videos coming. Just let me know if you made it this far in the video, what types of different videos do you want to see? I'm interested in expanding the types of videos I make and not just doing toy reviews or room tours, but I do want to do some other stuff. Obviously want to get back into live streaming, but I just want to do different stuff, different content, and I want to branch out, and I would like to know what types of videos you guys are interested in. Are you interested in long form videos like this, or shorter like TikTok, you know, YouTube short type of videos? You know, it'd be interesting to see, you know, what the consensus is and what everybody wants to see and what type of content they like to consume. But anyways, like I said, stay tuned for more, subscribe if you're new, all that good stuff. And as always, guys, I'll see you guys next time.